Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast for all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time. I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at New Life Ministries International and New Life International CDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you, to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So I know everyone is observing right now that we are broadcasting from a different segment of our FijiWater.com sponsored studio. So I want to say to God be the, first of all, to God be the glory. I want to just say to all of you, thank you for your continued support, and I am excited about what we're going to be doing moving forward. So just know that we are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we are Facebook Live, we're YouTube Live, we are RadioFreeNetwork.com live. You go to RadioFreeNetwork.com/new-life, and every broadcast will be available to you. And so I know that I'm getting a few texts about the new studio. It's This has always been part of our FijiWater.com sponsored studio. We're just doing things a little bit differently, trying things a little bit differently as we move forward, because as you know, we are in the process of launching our 24-hour internet radio station, which our target date is to go live on Sunday, March 27th, 2022. So we're getting ready, and we're doing some things that will give us the opportunity to do our interviews and to make certain that you have the opportunity to tune in, of course, to the music 24 hours a day. But we're going to be doing interviews live on Zoom. We're going to be doing interviews live in our FijiWater.com sponsored studio. So today is the first day of the rest of our lives. No, today is the first day that we are preparing, because, as you know, this is the middle of the last month of the first quarter, and we go live at the end of the first quarter. So we want to make certain that we have everything ready to try to eliminate as many technology issues that we might experience along the way, and any video issues that we might experience along the way. So just stay tuned with us and continue to pray for us and continue to communicate with us so that we can continue to address the topics that are important to you, the issues of life you find challenging and that you find difficult to navigate. So as I indicated, we're going to be launching our 24-hour internet radio station, WKAP, Faith Empowerment Radio, And we will keep you informed so that you can tune in when we go live, and you'll be able to listen throughout the day, just as some of you listen now when you're working, when you're on commutes, when you're on the road, whatever you're doing. If you're on, stationary in front of your laptop or your device, we want to make certain that you have platforms that you can listen 24 hours a day, that you can tune in 24 hours a day and be inspired, be encouraged, and be empowered by the music that we're playing, and of course by the segments that we will broadcast. Also, 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, will have segments on health and wellness with BeccaTheDietitian.com. We'll have segments on mental health and wellness. We'll have segments on financial literacy, pardon me, and entrepreneurship. It does sound like I need some Fiji water, so just bear with me for one moment. Earth's finest water to the rescue. We just want to make certain that we do everything that we can to get us tuned in properly in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, and every other opportunity that we have to broadcast to you. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your children are very stubborn and you are not certain where that comes from, where to get that from, is what you said, where that comes from. However, it's real and you feel like their stubbornness is interfering with their success. Well, the truth of the matter is you won't be able to look very far from home, because obviously children emulate the environment that they're in. So we know that your children have obviously developed some of the stubbornness from their household, from watching their parents or their relatives, whatever the case may be. It is definitely a personality trait that has been developed by watching, observing their environment. Let's go there first. And then, having said that, so we have to hold ourselves accountable for some of what goes on with our children. That's the first thing. The second thing is, when they reach a certain age, we're no longer responsible for them making a decision to change personalities. So they have to work towards that. You are correct, though. And the only thing you're going to be able to do for them at this point is to pray for them. You are correct that your children, the stubbornness of their personality is interfering with their success. It delays their destiny, for lack of a better term. It delays their ability to move forward and accomplish all of the things that God has purposed for their lives. So those are conversations you might have to have with them, but you also have to remember that as young adults and as they become adults, they're going to do things their own way. They're going to do things the way they want to do them. And unfortunately, that's going to be part of their learning process. That's going to be part of their development process, that they're going to have to go through some challenges in their professional lives because of the decisions they make on a daily basis. Let me start there and use this as a premise. The problem becomes that people develop personalities that are going to challenge their professional environment. And I'll use an analogy that I've used long ago to many people. You can't always say what's on your mind when you're in a room. Sometimes you have to be silent and thought a fool than opposed to opening your mouth and removing all doubt. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes you can say one thing in a professional environment. You can say one thing that will impact your success long term, to the point where eventually they'll find it necessary to leave that company, because they won't get promoted just by a comment that they make in one moment of time. And the reason is because they feel the need to be heard. They feel the necessity to be heard. But the reality is sometimes you don't have to be heard. Sometimes you just have to stay focused, stay on point, and get the job done. However, many people find that difficult to do. They find it difficult to just stay on point, do the job, get the job done, and then their performance speaks for itself. So this is for all of our listeners and viewers to be mindful of also. Sometimes all that is necessary is for us to perform at a high level. And if we perform at a high level, then what happens is that our performance speaks for us. We don't have to say anything. Our performance speaks for us. And so I want to say to you, continue to pray for your children, continue to give them guidance, say it whether they do anything with it or not. You're giving them information. You have to tell them that they just can't dig their heels in on every single discussion. They've got to be flexible enough to know that other people have good ideas also. They have to be flexible enough to know that perhaps something that's being said is going to enhance their performance, and then their performance will speak for itself. Now, being stubborn is something that we have all developed in our lives while we're living in the world. And it's because we recognize that everyone doesn't have our best interests at heart, so sometimes we dig our heels in on things, pardon me, as a protective measure. I'm having some issues with my allergies today, so everyone just kind of bear with me. I want to say this. One of the reasons for stubbornness is a method of protection. We protect our emotional well-being by being stubborn sometimes. But what we don't realize is that sometimes that's going to end in a negative result. It's going to end with a negative result. So we've got to look at every possible scenario when we are trying to address stubbornness. So you're going to have to really work with your children to give them some methods that are going to lead to their success. And one of the things is that you and your husband can work on yourselves. You know, have you demonstrated to them what it means to be stubborn? And I really need to take another drink of Earth's finest water here. Pardon me. Have you demonstrated to them that it's okay to dig your heels in and not be flexible enough to adapt to what may occur in your personal and professional environment? So we really have to work on ourselves so that our children have a model. And I'm not going to get into another communication that was sent in by a listener and viewer because I'll get ahead of myself. But we have to really understand that we have to adapt to everything in our professional environment. Some things we have to stand on, but we have to adapt. We have to be willing to be flexible enough to say, okay, we'll try that method and see if it leads to success. And if it doesn't over a period of time, then we can pivot. But if they don't see you being flexible enough, and I'm not talking about taking pardon me, a firm stand on anything. I'm talking about being flexible enough that even after you've taken a firm stand on something, being flexible enough to pivot if things aren't working. So you set examples for your children and they develop the same behavior. And now you realize that it's interfering with their success. So you're gonna have to go back and do some things differently also. And have conversations with them. Share with them the results that you experienced because of digging your heels in and not being flexible enough to maneuver before pivoting or just pivoting. Sometimes it just requires us to maneuver. But sometimes it will require us to pivot. And they're going to have to learn that. And that might be part of their learning process, because it may take some time for them to see that you changed your way of doing things. They can change their way of doing things also. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you feel as though you have been drinking way too much with your girlfriends. However, you spend the entire time looking for things to do, which always involves drinking. So you want to know, how do you really stop the drinking? You know, there's a couple of things going on here, and I want to say this to you. First and foremost, you have to ask yourself, why are you drinking way too much? Even when you're out with your girlfriend. So even if you're drinking, and which I don't recommend, but even if you're drinking, you need to limit yourself to how much you're going to drink. So a glass of wine while you're out eating, and you might have to change some of the locations that you hang out with your girlfriends. Because if you're going to hang out at clubs, you're going to drink. You may dance, but because you're a drinker, you're going to drink. You're going to dance, you're going to get overheated, you're going to want something to drink, and instead of drinking water, you're going to get your favorite cocktail. So you're going to drink if you're hanging out at clubs. Maybe change it to going out to dinner more frequently with them, as opposed to hitting the clubs. Eat dinner, have one glass of wine if you're gonna drink it all. Now, the way to stop the process is just to quit drinking. You know, there's other things you can do when you're hanging out with your girlfriends, and it might require you to get some new girlfriends, but that's not for me to decide. I'm the messenger of God. So God is, the reason that this is on your spirit is because God is trying to do something different in your life. So He's placed this on your spirit. You've recognized the fact that you're drinking way too much with your girlfriends. You're spending time always looking for something to do, you said, and then it involves drinking. So you all aren't making good decisions. You know, the first thing you can do to stop drinking way too much is just to stop drinking. Pure and simple. That's the simple answer. But the more complex version is that if you want to maintain these friends, change what you do with them. You know, like I said, go to dinner, maybe have one glass of wine or your favorite drink, and be done with it. That's the only way you're going to reduce or eliminate the problem of drinking way too much. And I was prayerful about this. God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. You're correct. You are drinking way too much. And that's never going to lead to the opportunity to maximize your success. You know, wanting to be out on the scene and seen by, that's why I know it's spelled differently. You want to be on the scene, SCENE, so that you can be seen, SEEN, by your peers. But those are really not your peers. People that you encounter in the club, they may be of your age group, but those are not your peers. And listen, your peers are your business colleagues who are on the level you're on. Those are your immediate peers. The people you encounter at the people you encounter at the club are not your peers. They're the people in your age group. Let me stop right there. They're the people who want to hang out at clubs, and they're in that age group of maybe, I'm not going to stop anybody from hanging out if you're older than this, but they're that 21 to 41, maybe 45 crowd, which if you're still hanging out in the clubs at over 41, there's something else we need to address. Okay? But let's say 21 to 41. They're that crowd. The problem is you all hang out and you disperse and go back to your home lives, and then you've got to deal with the consequences of hangovers. You've got to deal with the consequences of wasting your blessing, your finances. You've got to deal with the consequences of, these are the only people that are in my life right now. I go to work and those are the people I work with, but they're not significant to you because they're not out on the scene, SCENE, trying to be seen, SEEN. I know you didn't come for a spelling class, but this is the truth of the matter that we have to examine. That's really why you're out with your girlfriends all the time. Because you all have that same itch. I need to be on the scene so that I can be seen by the club people, the people who are in the clubs. You got to recognize that, and that's why God placed it on your spirit. You're starting to recognize that that's not going to lead to your success. You know, I want to use this as an example for many people to think about. Let's say from 21 or 22, when most people start their professional career, if you spend from 21 or 22 to 31 or 32, the first 10 years out of school, focusing on nothing but saving, investing, home ownership, and an occasional vacation. How much more successful will you be at 30 or 31, or let's say 31 or 32, than if you wait until from 21 to 41 party? Because now you've got to build a great quality of life from 41 on. I'm saying all of that to say we've got to do better. We've got to recognize the importance. And here's the good news for everyone. It's never too late unless you do nothing. It's never too late unless you do nothing to change, to make change. We have to be willing to make the change and move forward and focus on building success. Once you become successful, then it's maximizing the success. It's not just thinking we've arrived, because there's always more to be done. If God hasn't called us home, there's always more to be done. And so we have to focus on that. It leads to a much better quality of life. Because most of the time, the things that we want to do are not the best things for us. It's our flesh that desires to be satisfied. And we want a better quality of life. All of us should want a better quality of life. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. Shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have so much going on in your professional career that you are finding it difficult to keep up. And you want to know what can be done to ensure that you keep up with the pace. So, here's a very simple analogy that many of you have heard me use before. And it really is all about time management and lifestyle management. So one of the things that I constantly teach to people, both young and old, is that we have to really get to a place where we're managing our entire lifestyle, both personally and professionally. And one of the easiest ways I've found to do that is by categorizing the entire day. So there are components that come under the administrative aspect of my personal life and my professional life. There is a development component that encompasses both personal and professional. There's a management component that encompasses both personal and professional. Then you have the marketing and branding aspect. How do you want to present yourself to the public? What are you pursuing in your professional environment? How are you going to maximize every opportunity? And how do you maximize your potential? So all of that goes into managing the lifestyle, your time. Then there is a operational component of managing both your personal and your professional lifestyle. You have to focus on those components. And I've often talked about 2 hours of every component, spending 2 hours on every component. For your business day, that encompasses 10 hours. When you come home in the evening, obviously, we want to shoot for at least 8 hours of sleep. So now you're at 18 hours. That means you've got 6 hours left to work on the personal components of your life. Right? You've got 6 hours left to do that. So, pretty much 1 hour that's going to go into, do I have commuting time? Am I going to, spend some time doing something that is, obviously for me it's meditation and prayer. That's going to be at least an hour of your day, but that also goes into my development portion of my day. But you've got 6 hours to work with for your personal life. Really, you have 14, but eight of that has to be for, at least 8 of that has to be for sleep. And if you can get 9, great. That's a positive. But you wanna make sure that you're getting enough rest so that we can perform at a high level. There we go. Okay. So I say all of that to say that's how you can keep up with the pace, is make sure that you use every one of those components in your professional career. And that will get you